This is Selena Yvette, host of Stories from Planet Earth. Thanks for listening to the following show on Public House Media.
You're listening to Catch Up, an official news production of Public House Media.
Today is July 5th, 2020, and it's time to catch up on the news that you need to know about.
Today, we're helping you catch up on Justice Kavanaugh's decision to deny Illinois' GOP efforts to create an emergency ban,
the extension of small business loans legislation by President Trump,
the NFL Players Union suggested to skip the preseason,
and, as always, we have a bit of good news for you.
We're your hosts, Catherine Smith
and Anna Herman. Welcome to Catch Up.
Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh denied an emergency appeal submitted by the GOP lawmakers of Illinois this last weekend that argued against the governor's current restrictions on the meetings in groups larger than 10 amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Here to discuss more on this topic is Catch Up correspondent John Louder. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So, John, the state of Illinois has one of the most strict forms of COVID-19 guidelines for its citizens. While many other states continue to open up their states to attempt to get back to our new normal, why is the state of Illinois continuing to remain with its strict guidelines?
Well, and it's also interesting because the governor has appeared at several Black Lives Matter demonstrations, which are obviously way more than 10 people. So there are plenty that say that that's hypocritical. Look, it's obviously safer to be with less people. Plenty of states have opened up the ability for outdoor gatherings to be more than 10 people, in fact, a lot more, starting today. New Jersey is allowing up to 500 people in an outdoor gathering setting. So plenty of states have gone above that 10 number, but Illinois is keeping it strict. I guess they're trying to be safe. But again, if you're appearing at demonstrations that are more than 10 people yourself, it does seem a little bit hypocritical to not let it go both ways.
So while the Republican Party of Illinois continues to push opening their state, what can we expect in the future of this case, along with other states who may soon follow?
Well, it is interesting that it was Brett Kavanaugh that denied the appeal, considering he was the GOP selection to be in the Supreme Court. He faced a lot, obviously, of backlash and controversy himself before he was installed into the Supreme Court. So that's interesting in itself. They're obviously going to continue battling this. I have a feeling that eventually they will probably get permission, just because, again, it really shouldn't be a political issue one way or the other in terms of having large gatherings. And this is going to continue to be an issue throughout the entire country, because as more and more states either open stuff up for the first time or reopen once numbers go down, this is going to be a constant situation that's going to have to be monitored, because, again, with the election coming up in November, political gatherings are going to become more and more pertinent and more important as we get closer to voting.
Well, thanks for joining us on Catch Up today, John. President Trump signed legislation Saturday extending the deadline for small businesses to apply for the Paycheck Protection Program, also known as the PPP, which was enacted in the weeks following the economic shutdown caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The original deadline to apply for the PPP was this past Tuesday night, but $130 billion still remained in the fund out of $660 billion allocated. Both houses of Congress approved the extension unanimously earlier this week. With Trump's signature Saturday, businesses will now have until August 8th to apply for the assistance. The PPP lets businesses get direct government subsidies for payroll, rent, and other costs. The subsidies come as federal loans, but those loans can be forgiven if businesses use at least 60% of the funds for payroll.
The program has so far doled out $520 billion in loans to almost 5 million small businesses across the country. The loans were meant to let businesses cover about 2.5 months of typical costs. The program sponsors say that they want to repurpose the program to better serve the challenges businesses are facing now, several months into the pandemic. Quote, as the scope of the financial damage done to small businesses by the pandemic and resulting lockdowns have grown, it has become clear that the long-term support is necessary. End quote, Florida Senator Marco Rubio said in a statement.
Rubio said he wants to see additional support for, quote, our smallest businesses, especially in our underserved communities, end quote. The program faced criticism after loans went to multi-million-dollar businesses such as restaurant chain Potbelly, the coal company Hallador Energy, and the video storage firm Quantum, all of which received $10 million, the most the PPP will give to any one business.
The NFL may be moving to cancel the entire preseason after the Players' Union voted this week to raise the issue, report says. The union's board of players' representatives voted on Thursday to ask the NFL to cancel the entire preseason schedule, just one day after the league reportedly proposed cutting the schedule from 4 games to 2, and push back the start of the exhibition play so teams have more time to train.
No decisions between the league and the Players' Union has been made, but a recent spike in coronavirus cases across the United States has prompted both sides to reconsider measures going into the 2020 season. The pandemic forced teams to conduct their entire off-season programs via video conference. So teams will be gathering together for the first time when training camps open on July 28th.
It remains unclear if the league would continue canceling preseason. No word if the regular season, which opens September 10th with Houston at Kansas City, will be impacted in any way.
And, as always, we have a bit of good news for you today. Germany is banning the sale of single-use plastic straws, cotton buds, and food containers, bringing it in line with a European Union directive intended to reduce the amount of plastic garbage that pollutes the environment. The cabinet agreed Wednesday to end the sale of plastics, including single-use cutlery, plates, stirring sticks, and balloon holders, as well as polystyrene cups and boxes by July 3rd of 2021.
Environment Minister Svenja Schensey said the move was part of an effort to move away from the, quote, throwaway culture. Up to 20% of garbage collected in parks and other public places consists of single-use plastic, mainly polystyrene containers. Plastic takes decades to degrade, and microscopic particles have been found inside the bodies of fish, birds, and other animals. Thanks for catching up on News Today with us. I'm Catherine Smith.
And I'm Anna Herman. Please be sure to catch up with us again tomorrow.
If you enjoyed today's episodes, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts.
We appreciate you listening to Catch Up. For even more content, follow Catch Up Digital on social media. Just search for @TimeForCatchup.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on any stories that we covered today. Just use the hashtag #PatchTheCatchup on social media.
Catch Up is an official production of Public House Media.